I'm joined now by the trade union activist Paul Embery. Paul, thank you so much for joining me. We probably start from a different point of view on strikes, but I wonder if you could give the case for the strikes. Why do you think they're justified, and why do you think they're not holding the British public to ransom?
Well, I think they're justified, Jacob, simply because so many people are being asked once again to accept a real terms pay cut and are being asked again to pay for an economic crisis that they didn't create. We've had 14 years of this. We had the global financial crisis in 2008, since when we've had pretty paltry pay increases. We're now going through the cost of living crisis. People are increasingly finding it difficult to make ends meet, finding it difficult to pay their mortgages, to pay their energy bills, to put food on the table. And the constant promise from the government of jam tomorrow simply isn't good enough. People actually want a real terms pay increase now rather than another real terms pay cut. And what we're seeing, by the way, are many thousands of workers who have never been on strike before, many of whom would never have dreamed actually of going on strike in the occupations that they are in. But simply because they have reached the end of their tether, they feel that this is the only option that's available to them. I mean, as to your question about whether or not they're holding the country to ransom, I don't believe they are. What they're doing is exercising their democratic and legitimate right to withdraw their labour. That isn't holding the country to ransom. That's simply exercising a right that's enshrined to them under law.
But if we're to make the economy work, don't we need, in return for any pay rises, changes in working practices? And we know, with the railways and with the Royal Mail particularly, there are some working practices like Sunday working being voluntary that have gone out in all other industries, and that we need a more productive, more successful economy, and people can be better paid if they can deliver more. And that needs to be the essential part of the conversation.
Well, I think there's often a myth that's promulgated about trade unions that they oppose every single change. And by and large, it's not true. I mean, I work in the fire and rescue service, and my union has been very much a part of the modernisation of the fire and rescue service. What unions are generally opposed to are changes, that are detrimental to the service and to the public good and public safety. And demands, for example, for productivity increases that are not accompanied by better conditions and better pay. I mean, in my view, what you generally find is if you put money on the table and offer workers a decent pay increase and decent conditions, they're much more amenable to the idea of changes to their conditions of service. So we shouldn't run away with the idea that unions are not interested in any change. I don't think that's borne out by history.
Well,